What if I told you that you only needed to implement 6 movement patterns into your training to yield incredible results? And no, not in the way that has you doing some monotonous and boring routine week in and week out, but one that literally has thousands of different variations and combinations to keep you motivated, engaged, and locked in year round. These 6 movement patterns are the exact things I have personally used to program my personal workouts and the workouts for over 5,000 people I have trained through FLO Functional Training. And they are the movement patterns that have also contributed to helping me fix so many of my joint issues and restrictions from years of playing sports and wear and tear. So let's dive in and walk through each of the 6 movement patterns, some of my favorite variations of each, and then I will personally talk you through how you might start implementing these consistently every single week to help you improve your strength, balance, mobility, and help you perform at your best in whatever you are doing in life. This video isn't here to say that what everyone else is doing is wrong. In fact, it's quite the opposite. This is simply an easy system for classifying your movement categorically so you can train each week for a balanced physique and strength balance. Because of my background in physical therapy, I fully promote anything that is going to help you live a pain-free life. If what you're doing is currently giving you that, then keep doing it. But if not, here's a different approach that you can try. All right, so let's dive in. The 6 movement categories are squat, hinge, upper push, upper pull, core, and locomotion. And again, while each of these might sound overly simple, you need to realize that there are hundreds of movement variations within each category that you can mix and match in your training to yield incredible results while keeping your training both consistent and fun. Starting with my personal favorite, number 1, the squat. The squat is your primary knee-dominant movement pattern and one of the most foundational motions in human movement. It teaches you how to load your body evenly, use your legs efficiently, and brace through your trunk. A good squat requires proper ankle mobility, solid hip control, and the ability to maintain a stable torso, which is why it tends to tax your anterior chain, your quads and core the most. This category also includes all the unilateral squat variations like lunges, split squats, and step-ups. Unilateral simply just means one-sided is working harder, usually the leg that's forward or bearing the majority of the load. These variations are amazing for exposing and correcting side-to-side imbalances, improving your hip stability, and building strength that transfers into real-life movement. Whether you're doing goblet squats, front squats, lunges, or Bulgarian split squats, this pattern is essential for balanced lower body development and long-term knee and hip health. Number 2 is the hip hinge. The hip hinge is your primarily hip dominant pattern and one of the most important movements for building power, strength, and longevity in your posterior chain. Think of this pattern as teaching you how to load your glutes, hamstrings, and spinal erectors while keeping your spine neutral and your hips driving the movement. Deadlift variations are the gold standard here. Kettlebell deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, trap bar pulls, sumo variations, you name it. And also incorporate supine variations like hip thrusts and glute bridges, which help strengthen the hinge pattern from a different angle. And single leg hip options like single leg RDLs challenge your balance, hip stability, and control in ways that bilateral lifts cannot. More explosive ballistic movements like kettlebell swings, cleans, and other hip-driven power exercises also fall under this category, making the hinge pattern incredibly versatile. Mastering a strong, clean hinge not only boosts your strength and athletic performance, it's one of the best ways to protect your lower back for the rest of your life. Number 3 is the upper push. This includes anything where you're pressing weight away from your body. Think horizontal presses like push-ups and bench presses, and vertical presses like overhead, dumbbell, and kettlebell work. These movements target your chest, shoulders, and triceps, but more importantly, they train your ability to generate force forward and upwards, which carries over into almost every athletic and daily activity. And again, unilateral variations here apply too. Things like single arm dumbbell presses or alternating push patterns are fantastic for finding imbalances and building joint stability. All right, that leads us to number 4, upper pull. Any movement where you're pulling weight towards your body fits in here. Horizontal pulls like rows and inverted rows, and vertical pulls like pull-ups, chin-ups, and lat pull-downs all fit here. These train your upper back, lats, and biceps, but they're also crucial for posture, shoulder health, and long-term joint integrity. If you want to improve your shoulder health and balance your upper body, you simply cannot skip this category. Pulling movements are incredibly important for counterbalancing basically everything else you do in life, helping you fatigue less and maintain an upright posture more easily. Now on to category number 5, core. And let me be clear, when I say core, I'm not talking about lying on the floor doing endless crunches. Core work can also include things like pull-off presses and cable holds for anti-rotation, planks and ab rollouts for anti-flexion, dead bugs and hollow holds for anti-extension, and dynamic stability under load with carries, offset lifts, and unilateral lifts. Your core is your stabilizer. It's the anchor that keeps your spine, pelvis, and trunk organized so your limbs can generate power safely and efficiently. A strong core doesn't just look better, it makes everything else operate and move better. And finally, our last category, number 6, locomotion. This is probably the most overlooked category and ironically one of the most important for longevity and athleticism. Locomotion includes anything that involves moving your body through space. Walking, running, sprinting, crawling, carries, then things like skips, hops, and bounding. Locomotion in general and training all these movement patterns helps you to improve your coordination, rhythm, joint stability, cardiovascular health, and just real-world athleticism. This is the stuff that keeps you feeling capable outside of the gym, like playing with your kids, hiking, competing, or just moving through life with confidence. So now that you know the 6 movement categories, let's talk about how you can use this system. Here's the framework. If over the course of the week, you hit at least one movement from each category, squat, hinge, upper push, upper pull, core, and locomotion, you're already training in a balanced, evidence-based way that supports joint health, strength development, mobility, and longevity. But if you want to take it a step further, you can start mixing and matching variations within each category to build intuitive, effective workouts that never feel repetitive. I typically program everything based off of a direction. For example, if I'm going to do a 3-day split, on day 1, I'm going to do all full body push exercises. Typically for this, I'm going to select 2 lower body push exercises and 2 upper body push exercises, and I'll either hit those in a superset or in a circuit. When I'm selecting these, usually I like to go with one bilateral exercise. For example, with the lower body doing like a goblet squat or a back squat, and combining that with some sort of unilateral lower body push exercise like a lunge or a split squat. For the upper body, it'll be much of the same, selecting a bilateral exercise like push-ups or bench press, and combining that with some sort of single arm upper body exercise like overhead presses. And then on day 2, I'm gonna do everything the opposite. I'll do a full body pull strength workout where I'm selecting 2 lower body pull focused motions and 2 upper body pull focused motions. Once again, one bilateral with one unilateral exercise is a great way to get both strength work and stability work in the same workout. And then of course, you can always introduce more variation by selecting different variations of each exercise. Typically speaking, I'll introduce core or locomotion into other aspects of my training, like a core finisher at the end of a strength day, or doing plyometrics and sprints on another day of the week. That right there will give you a very balanced approach to your training and will help you train for that strength balance that we've been talking about. Typically, day number 3 is some sort of locomotion focused activity with maintenance and mobility work built into that. And then you can just rinse and repeat the cycle, push, pull, push, pull. Core and locomotion almost always gets added in as some sort of finisher or accessory work into these workouts. So once you've dialed in what your training split is gonna be, you can then start to select what type of rep ranges you're gonna be working through. Oftentimes for the general population, somewhere between 6 and 12 reps is just fine for training for strength, endurance, and joint health. Then all you need to do is spread that over the course of a 4 to 12 week program, going up and down in the rep ranges to allow your body to progressively overload different lifts. And you'll start to see your body make progress over time, not just aesthetically, but from a strength and mobility standpoint as well. This is exactly how I program inside FLO Functional Training, using the directional strength system and these 6 categories. It gives you structure without rigidity and freedom without chaos. And it ensures you're always progressing, always balanced, and always training in a way that supports how the human body is meant to move. I actually have a free program that illustrates this principle really well, linked in the description. If you guys want to go to that description, click on that link. It's a free 7-day plan with a bunch of free workouts, as well as 4 mobility routines and a nutrition guide that you guys can go download that for free. As always, thanks for being here, guys. Let's move.